Hello everybody. I am going to be doing a tarot card reading today. I believe it's going to be about love because we have this beautiful rainbow obsidian heart, double heart that I got, and this rose quartz palm stone, and I actually have these for sale on my website. But I'm just going to be doing kind of a general message I feel like I need to get out. And I'm going to shuffle the cards with you all today because I just want to chat. I just want to chat about where I've been, what I've been doing. And if you are not interested in that, then you can skip right to the reading. There's also going to be 4 different sections. So if you were only interested in one of the sections, then feel free to just jump to that section. But this reading is going to be a full reading together as one, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of interlapping parts. And let me just start shuffling because I really want to just chat and talk about where I've been. Oh my Lord. Now you guys can really get a view of what's going on in most of my readings. I just want to talk about the YouTube channel first. Oh my gosh, buddy. So I was making a video for the channel, and the video, I'm just going to tell you, is about making a vision board, which is something that I am very passionate about. I've been doing it for years now. I was exposed to vision boards at a very young age through learning about The Secret. Vision boards are just a huge part of my life, so I wanted to share that with everyone. But the problem is that this video, because I draw my vision boards, it was taking me so long. It was taking me such a long time, and I'm still not done with it. And I feel like I haven't got to that place where I know how to make a schedule with YouTube. Like, if I just do tarot readings, then I can do that every week, you know? And I can kind of stay consistent with that. But I really want to expand. So I'm learning. I need to also have other videos like this one, which, you know, fill in the gaps. And also just, I feel like I need to get messages out. Like today, it's like, I had to throw my hair up. I didn't get overly ready at all. I, you know, just had to get to this tarot reading. It's going to have some important messages in it for the collective, I feel. And whoever sees this, there we go. 2 cards. And whoever sees this is going to be, there's going to be important messages in here. It's just how I feel. I'm going to leave these 2 cards that I just pulled out, and we'll get to those. And that is the message that we got out for this throat chakra stone. So maybe this has something to do with the throat chakra. And oh my god, there's already freaking hearts all over that card, so that's just funny. I knew this was going to be a love reading. And I mean, let's just talk about what's on the table right now. Let's just talk about it. There's Divine Feminine, which is out of stock right now. This is my own personal bottle, dropper bottle, which I don't even offer. But this is my Divine Feminine perfume. And this is a giant black tourmaline that I just picked up at the Tucson Gem Show. So I'm going to also be chatting about that when I shuffle the rest of these cards. And here is like a goddess, or, you know, like a woman's body made out of amethyst. So what I can get off of that right away, sir, this reading is going to focus on the Divine Feminine. And when I say the Divine, Jesus, Sir, when I say the divine feminine, I don't mean like male or female, really. I mean, it's like a soft side of yourself. It's a side of yourself that focuses on creation, whereas like the divine masculine would focus on like charging forward and being like almost commanding. I mean, not in like a bad way, because it's divine, you know. The divine masculine is basically the opposite of toxic masculinity. You know, it's like taking care of others, but in like a protective way, in a non-toxic way, like just being very firm. Whereas the divine feminine is very soft. I think that there's a lot of like love for others, but not like in a commanding, it is still protective, like mama bear can happen, but I do feel like it's a softer energy, and it's just different, you know. Like, whereas like like the divine masculine might be like, I'm protecting my pack, like, you know, if anybody tries to hurt my family, they will pay the consequences. Whereas like the divine feminine, I feel like, is like, I'm gonna bake my family a pie, I'm gonna make sure there's a beautiful dinner here. And like all women, men, non-binary, whatever you identify as, I feel have both of those sides of themselves. It's like the yin and yang, you know? And I feel like today we're going to be focusing on love, on the divine feminine, on that soft, loving energy. I think also just like how to be okay alone and with others. I think there's like a balance there. Another reason that I haven't been posting, which I've really been missing it, and I really enjoy posting videos and getting comments and building this community up. It means a lot to me. All of the people that have subscribed and all of the people that have watched and commented, like, it means the world to me. Yeah, another reason that I haven't been here is the Tucson Gem Show. So I was gone for about a week. I went to Arizona to visit one of my best friends and go buy a bunch of crystals, and it was so fun. It was amazing. The nature there is unbelievable, like 30-foot cactuses and just gorgeous mountains. The town, Tucson, is so cute. Everybody that I met was really cool. So many other jewelers and just really a lot of people that were part of the art community. I definitely feel I needed that. I feel like I needed a break. I get very cooped up. I think most artists do. Maybe this one? This one? No. Spirit says no to dragon's blood. I got a bunch of crystals. I got this amazing black tourmaline. I got another one as well. I got this there as well. I believe I'm going to put this up on my website, so if anybody's interested in that, just keep a lookout on my website. And yeah, I just bought a bunch of crystals. It was overwhelming at times, but it was amazing. I love crystals so much. They really are a huge part of my life, and I do believe in them. I believe that they each have associations. I believe that meditating with them, focusing with them can really help you. And I just think like for instance, cleansing the deck with this rose quartz palm stone, then I know what it's going to be about. It's going to be about self-love. It's going to be about romance. Like this stone, it has the throat chakra on it, and serpentine can have to do with like clearing out energies. I mean, same with black tourmaline and same with rainbow obsidian. And then the rainbow obsidian, it also has like an illuminating factor, and it's also in this heart pattern. So you can kind of get a feel for what the reading is going to be about. just based on the crystals, because they all have associations. And I feel like the universe really gets that. The universe really understands our associations. Just like in astrology, like I feel that we can find the patterns. Even if there wasn't a pattern, like we could find a pattern. You know, like even if the universe didn't mean for a pattern to be there, then we find a pattern, we make that pattern happen, and then the universe accepts that. And we just pulled that card. And I feel like, yeah, just the universe accepts the patterns that we put out. And I feel like it's crazy I just pulled cordyceps, because cordyceps have to do with like creating new neural pathways. And I feel like that's kind of exactly how life is that you say, this is a pattern in my life, and then you can like either say I'm done with this pattern, or you can say, or you can continue to cycle in the pattern. You can continue, or you can enjoy that pattern. You could say, I love this routine that I'm in, you know. So there's different patterns and different feelings about different patterns and cycles and whatever, however you want to call it. But I just think it's fascinating how I feel the universe kind of plays with us, you know. It's like that co-creation. Like we see a pattern and then it works around that pattern once we've seen it. We can change the pattern that we see. We can see a new pattern. We can make a new pattern happen. And I think that's beautiful. I'm getting off track though. I was talking about, I mean, really probably on track, because the cards are coming out and I'm probably speaking more on what the cards are talking about than my own life, which isn't a bad thing. So I was in Tucson, really enjoyed myself there. It's just amazing. I just had the best time. If you ever have the chance to go or wanted to go to the Tucson Gem Show, I highly recommend. It was insane. There was every crystal you could ever want. The prices were amazing. And yeah, it was just a really, really wonderful time. And now I'm back and ready to make lots of jewelry with all of the crystals that I found. All of the crystals that I purchased. I feel like I wanted to talk about just getting back into a pattern, getting into a new pattern. I feel like it really touches on, if you watch my last video, I'll link it down below, but I talked about how you need to make patterns, and then if they're not working, add to them, change them. And I feel like I'm feeling that right now. And then another thing that I've been feeling lately is like just friendship, connection, like the camaraderie between, for me specifically, like having female friends is really important to me. And I had been like really sheltering myself and kind of almost militant about my routine, you know, like I have to do this at this time, and that burns you out. And it's just like you have to let yourself enjoy life. I feel like something I've been experiencing for a while now is realizing that like the universe wants you to have fun. The universe, when you loosen up, when you say, like, for instance, recently I didn't have like any money after the Tucson Gem Show, because of course I spent all my money on crystals. But I decided to treat myself and get myself a $20 video game anyways, and go out with my girlfriend. Here we go. And go out with my girlfriend. And that day I got a pretty large order. So it's just like, enjoy life. Enjoy yourself. At least try to find those little things to enjoy yourself. Try to make those habits, like putting your phone down. I've been using an app called Stayfree, and it has been so helpful for limiting my use. And I'm sure that a lot of the things I'm saying are in relationship to the reading, because I noticed that typically what I'm going through in my life, I'm able to talk about it quickly. I'm able to talk about it. So I think those are the messages that the tarot cards want me to speak on at that time, because they know that I'm going to speak on it properly. They know it's fresh, you know? And then maybe some people will understand what I'm going through, or understand due to collective consciousness, due to, you know, just the seasons of the year, astrological events. There's been some interesting things in astrology going on. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was Venus and Jupiter, I think, were in a line below the moon, and the moon was like this. I don't know if the moon was like that where you're at, but the moon was like upside down. It was a very special moment. I've been getting a lot of love energy, like not just Valentine's Day. It's just been like hearts and connection, and not just love, like relationship love. Like I said, my girlfriends, my friends, you know, reached out to a friend, and then we ended up talking on the phone for like 2 hours. And those type of moments, just like, she kept saying to me, like, I needed this so bad. I needed somebody to reassure me. I needed somebody to connect with me. Somebody who understands me, who's known me for a while. And like, I've just been not calling my friends, not connecting. I isolate. I'm in a new place, you know. And I had a lot of people in my life, and a lot of people in and out of my house before I moved. And I like set that up for myself. I wanted this part of my life to be super introverted, but it's time, you know, that connection, it's so important. It really ends up making you feel like life is so drab when you live like the hermit in tarot, when you stay inside. And even if you're working on art, even if you're working on your business, even if you're making solid moves in other aspects of your life, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not connecting with others, it's so hard to keep that motivation, to keep that positive outlook. And no, you're not supposed to have a positive outlook every single day, but it does feel good to have a positive outlook on life most of the time, to be able to spin things, to be able to see the best in a situation, see that a situation isn't going to be the end of the world, right? And being with others really allows that. It really helps you get out of your bubble. And when you listen to them, when you tell them what you're dealing with, and you listen to them with an open mind, and you ask people for advice, and you say, you know, what do you think of this situation? And they say, oh, it's not that bad. You have this and you have this, and these people are here to support you, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You need to hear that sometimes from other people, because when you're in your own head all day, it's not easy. You know, you think it's all going wrong, and really all you need to do is just, you know, get outside, or like put your phone down, or like there's like a simple, or like maybe there's a more intense solution, like, oh, you should sell your house, or but there is a solution. You know, you should start a GoFundMe, or you should, but there is a solution. Or there's a solution of like, I'm not even going to concern myself with this anymore, or I'm just not going to believe that about myself anymore. Either way, there's been a lot, you know, there's been a lot on my mind, and people have been very helpful, just seeing people, and I just wanted to talk about that. And I think that that's going to have a lot to do with this reading today. So I think I've thoroughly set up everything that I need to set up. Let's just start talking about these cards. So the first thing we got here, now, like I said, this is under the throat chakra. And the throat chakra, it's oftentimes associated with speaking your truth and like telling people what you really want. When I was looking up about the throat chakra today, I found out that it has to do with listening. And I think that is so interesting because everybody always associates it with speaking your truth. But what's the flip side, the yin to the yang of speaking your truth is listening. And I think that that really applies to kind of what I had been talking about in the setup for this, is that listening to others is so important on your journey. Even if you don't always take their advice, I think it's just really important to get outside perspectives from people that you really care about. The two cards that came out here from the Everyday Witch tarot card set are the Knight of Cups and the Seven of Swords. And the Knight of Cups, this card is really cute. This adorable card. It has like a, what is that, a shark? Wow, it has a shark on it. So the Knight of Cups, I feel like you can kind of tell from this card, it really has to do with, I feel like, rushing towards love. And then not just that, but like spreading love. As you can see in the card, it's, you know, he has his cup and he's flying over the ocean and he's just, hearts are coming out everywhere. But paired with the Seven of Swords, it's very interesting because the Seven of Swords is kind of like, I don't know what's going on. Is someone being secretive? Are they taking something from me? Are they putting something back? You know, what's going on in this card? It seems very secretive. And I feel like paired together, it's like, I feel like I can't say this for every single person, because obviously this is a general reading, but I feel like a lot of people here might be just confused in love, and it doesn't even have to be a romantic love. So I think this really could apply to everybody, because kind of applied to what I was talking about before this, where I said that I was just not connecting to my friends, not calling people, not trying to meet new people. And when I finally did connect to somebody that I hadn't seen in a really long time, it felt so good. It just felt like, why have I been stifling myself? And I feel like that's kind of the energy here, is like, it's confusing. Like, spreading love is like confusing for you. And I feel like also in this card, it talks about like a give and a take, the Seven of Swords. And I feel like both of these cards are upright, but the Seven of Swords, even upright, just has some really strange connotations. And I just feel like in love, most people will understand this one, that either they were giving too much or they were taking too much. The balance was never quite right. Even in friendships, even in family, love. Like, love is an energy. It's an exchange. It's a very bright, coming from the center, the core, like, this is my person. This person understands me. Like, I adore this person. And I think a lot of the times it's been off balance, it's been like, wow, I felt a lot differently than you did. I thought that we were on the same page there. The Knight of Cups is a romantic soul. You might even say he is a fool for love. He tends to get wrapped up in his own dreams and visions, following them to the exclusion of the practical world. Whatever he is pursuing at the moment, he does it with his whole heart, but tomorrow his heart may turn to something new, and he will be just as passionate about that. The Knight of Cups isn't shallow, far from it. he's just following his bliss. Hopefully it won't lead him off a cliff. So, you know, this mentions following that bliss, and I mentioned that in the pre-reading as well. And I think sometimes we set it up so that we think we're following our bliss, right? But really, we really have to listen to our heart. Like I said, I had set up my days, so I'm like, I'm doing tarot card readings these days, I'm doing jewelry these days, I'm doing my business, and it seems like it's all set up for love. It's all the things that I love. But if you're not going with the flow, if you're not actually taking those moments, like I said, calling those friends, having that time with the friends and family that are really important to you, then you're not following your heart really. It might feel like you are, and I think that for some people, this pair together, it very much means that you have to be careful about who you fall in love with. I know that's hard to say, honestly, because this card mentions, like, are you dealing with someone with, maybe they have good intentions, but they don't have a lot of follow through? Is a man wooing you madly? And it says you might want to be a little bit cautious. And it's not just about, you know, a man, woman, whatever, a partner. It even says, as a friend or, you know, a family member coming to you with some can't fail scheme, but it's telling you to take a closer look before you get pulled into fantasy. And the thing is, that's what the Seven of Swords says in this reading as well. They came out together for a reason, because the Seven of Swords says, look a little bit more closely. It says sometimes appearances can be deceiving. Whatever situation you're in the middle of may be a little bit more complicated than it appears to be. If something seems off, you should probably listen to your instincts. So I do believe that this is a reading about love. I think it's a reading about self-love. I think it's a reading about loving others. And, you know, a huge part of self-love is figuring out how much you love others. You know, how much time and energy are you pouring into others? Does that person deserve it? Are they reciprocating? Are they giving you green flags? You know, it's asking you to take a little bit closer look at some of the people in your life. Listen, you know, that's what this throat chakra crystal was telling me today. Listen to the people around you. This, I think, specifically has to do with people that are maybe single, maybe freshly in a relationship, talking to someone. I definitely think you should heed this advice. Make sure you're taking a close look at this person before you get into this too deep. This pile is, and I think just in general, a lot of the people that come to my readings are lovers. They love hard. They love deep. They love people so much. And you can get really hurt doing that, you know? You can get really, really hurt pouring into every cup you see and forgetting to pour into your own, you know, that self-love. I definitely think that this rose quartz heart would be linked to this, because that has to do with self-love, and I feel that this has a lot to do with spreading that outward love. And you have to remember to go back in and spread that love to yourself. But it's so important to have boundaries with people. It's so important to know where your boundaries lie. When can people come to your house? What do they have to do? You know, do they have to call you? Do they have to text you? Do they have to give you an hour notice? Do they have to give you a day notice? This is for friends, family members, lovers, whatever. And it's not just about somebody coming over your house. It's about everything. You know, it's about everything, about the taking, the giving and receiving. You know, that's where I started with this set of cards. It's about giving and receiving, because that's what this Seven of Swords is about. Is she taking something or is she putting something back? And then this is all about spreading love. So when you put those two together, it's about who's giving love and who's receiving it, and is it balanced? Take a closer look. Maybe even try to step into looking at energy. Like, this is going to sound like really wild to some people, I'm sure, but when I walk in a room, I get a color feeling off of each person, off of the way that they hold themselves, off of the way that they speak, the look in their eyes. You can read so much about somebody just based on a glance, and it gives me like an energy field, like an aura. And you can also see, on top of the energy of a specific person, but you can see when someone's talking, or even if two people were upset at each other, they don't even have to say a word. You can see that. You can see that with energy. And you can see when two people are madly in love, it's like this giant beam, and it's almost like rainbow light, and the laughing and the happy, that's like rainbow light. That's like white, beautiful, pink, purple, like that's the type of energy that real love brings. And if you just meet someone and then there's already this like stagnant energy, there's already this, giving people the cold shoulder, that's not how the beginning of relationships really should work. Most of the time you do have that super happy, fun, loving phase. And if there's already things coming up, there might be certain things that come up in the beginning of a relationship that are having to do with, some important factors that you have to work out. But they should be like worked out quickly, and then you move on back to that like happy feeling. I mean, it's just the beginning, Obviously, this is just for certain people that are in the beginning stages or in like talking to someone stages of a relationship, but I just wanted to mention that. But this really goes for everything. It goes for everyone. Just try to notice that energy. Try to notice the vibe that people are putting out, right? It can really help you. It can really like save your ass on who you should even be talking to when you walk into a room, and who you should be giving your attention to. And you really shouldn't take anything personally, but you definitely don't want to take something personally when somebody says something that has like a super negative energy field. You're like, they're just going through something. They're just on their own phase, on their own plane, and they can go through that, but like that had nothing to do with me. And you can kind of block it. You can have your energy blocked up. You can have a like white light wall, and it lets out the good and shuts out the bad. I just think the energy has a lot to do with love. To take a closer look at the auras, at the energies that people are putting out. And one thing I want to say is don't lose that passion, don't lose that love for life. Follow your heart. Just make sure that you are going to be okay. You are going to be protected. If you fall madly in love with someone who hasn't been showing that follow through, then that might be a consistent throughout the entire relationship. And it could have saved you a whole lot of trouble if you just noticed that person wasn't giving what you expect to put in a relationship. Don't settle, don't settle for less. There are people out there that are going to give you what you need, and you're going to give them what they need. So you don't need to settle for people that the energy is all off. You can have a talk with them, but if nothing seems to work, then it might be time to move on. It says, now would be a good time to step back and see whatever you were so excited about, a lover, an idea, a plan for something grand, really stands up in the bright light of reality. So this whole reading, this whole time that I've been talking about people, I think mostly it does have to do with people's energy, but it can also be just take a closer look at your ideas and your plans, similar to what I said in the beginning about how you can have a whole schedule all set up with all the things you love to do, but if you're missing certain and really important parts like seeing friends, then the schedule really isn't that great after all. If you grind all day and all day on something you love, well, you might not love it anymore because you're going to get so burnt out. You really have to think about how you can balance out your ideas. As a last note in this reading is that I think it's about practicality, right? I think that this whole thing has been about take a step back, you can get just like rose-colored glasses on when it comes to being in love, and it doesn't just have to do with people. It can have to do with an idea. It can have to do with something that you're really excited about. So just make sure you're looking at things in a logical way as well as with that big heart that you have. And I think that that's everything I have for the very first section. For the throat chakra crystal from the Everyday Witch Tarot, get yourself some water, and then we're going to be moving on to the Herbal Astrology Oracle. Okay, I'm back. And we are going to talk about the Serpentine section. And I wrote down a couple things about Serpentine that I found on the internet. Serpentine has to do with clearing clouded chakras, so I find that that's interesting because the first section was about your throat chakra, so that might be a section, that might be a chakra that is actually blocked for you. And I think it's interesting that we kind of talked about how it can be blocked, not just about speaking your truth, but also seeing other people's truth and what their energy is. There's a lot that Serpentine has to do with. It talks about getting better at meditation through getting rid of clouded thoughts. So I think there's a lot having to do with just clearing out when it comes to Serpentine. It said that Serpentine has to do with forgiveness. It has to do with money and career. It has to do with new social circles and being independent in those new social circles, so getting yourself out there. And then it also said that it has to do with the sign Virgo. So maybe some Virgos here will find some good information. Maybe you have Virgo in a different placement. This is an astrology deck, so even on the actual card itself, on cordyceps, it has, I think, Mars, Pluto, and Venus. No, Jupiter, Pluto, and Mars, I believe. Maybe you have Virgo in one of those parts of your astrology chart. I can get a lot from just looking at this card. Like I said, it has those 3 planets in a line at the top, which I find is really interesting because recently we've had a planetary alignment. I don't know if you saw it in the sky, but I think it was Jupiter and Venus were in alignment. I think Mars was also actually in alignment, but I just couldn't see it. And they were all in alignment with the moon. So there was like an astrological event. And I feel like that was really important. I feel that things are aligning. Right now, there are no retrograding planets. And I just feel like the last time I talked about astrology, things were kind of all over the place. And now that I'm talking about astrology, things are in alignment. Cordyceps have to do with the brain. Cordyceps are a type of mushroom, I believe, a type of fungus. And I've talked about reishi and other types of fungus that you can use medicinally, and they help to open neural pathways. If you have been looping, if you've been cycling on a thought pattern, or you've been cycling in a toxic trauma pattern, almost like addicted to a certain trauma, why do I continue to, like for instance with the first card, be attracted to people? Like, why do I fall in love with people that have given me red flags? And I think the first card kind of talked about being like blinded by love, and asking people to actually take a look at what people are giving to them and take a look at the energy that people are giving out. And I think that cordyceps is kind of talking about a way to get out of these toxic patterns. When you take medicinal mushrooms or you take medicinal herbs, some of them, like cordyceps, have to do with opening those neural pathways. And when you open neural pathways, you are changing a pattern that has been in place for a long time. That can be anything from I'm not good enough to, I really want to quit substance, drinking, smoking, whatever. I want to quit a habit like shopping, gambling. I want to work through this pain that I've experienced, maybe PTSD or something like that. I am not a doctor, I am not a psychologist, and I can't give medical advice. I will just talk about how I've used medicinal plants like mushrooms in the past, and I do feel that they help. I do feel that when you set yourself up and you say, I want to better my life, and then you have an actual substance, an actual tool in the real world to help you with that, it is very beneficial. At least it has been for me. I think that it would be important to talk to a doctor. I think it's very important to talk to a doctor if you're going to add in a new vitamin or new, regimen into your routine. So always reach out to a medical professional before, following my advice. With the DNA there on this card, I feel like it's talking about like changing the patterns. And even when I was shuffling, that's what I started talking about. When this card popped out, I started talking about cycles. And this card is called Revival. So the eagle is like above. And I feel like that's what this card is talking about. This card is talking about getting above the cycle. There's even like a circle here on the card. And he's like getting above it to the divine clouds. And I feel like it's like breaking free from a cycle, breaking free even from familial traumas, because DNA, think of family, and families tend to have the same traumas. They pass that down. Your grandfather hit your father, and then your father hits you, and then it's time for you to be the cycle breaker. And or if there's yelling, or if there's abuse of some kind, if there's cold shoulders, whatever it is in a family, it can be broken. It can be broken through serious work. It's not easy. And you'll find yourself having some of those traumas and even passing some of those traumas down, especially if you have a child. I know that you understand what I'm talking about, that you'll feel really guilty because maybe you yelled at your kid And all you can do really in those situations is just apologize, you know, um, and get down on the level of the child. But it doesn't, it's not even just to the children. If you don't have any children, it can be to your friends, it can be to your lover, it can be to other family members. So I think that right now the planets are aligning and it's time to break free of the cycles that you've been in. Even if that cycle is like, I need this for this, but I can't get that until I get this, and then that, like, there's probably an external answer. There's probably something outside of this cycle. If you have a place and you need money to get it up to code, and then you can't get it up to code because you don't have enough money, but you can't have people coming in to your shows at this place, and therefore you can't bring in money, therefore you can't get it up to code, therefore you can't bring in money. See, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. Can't get the money, can't bring in the people, can't get it up to code. Cycle. There can be an external answer. There can be an answer like bring in a GoFundMe, do fundraising events that are outside of this place, etc., etc. And that's just an example in the like physical realm, but there's also like trauma examples, like cycling on the same thing, always going with a partner that abuses you, always going with somebody who either like physically or mentally, you know, abuses you. Why do you keep, you know, going to this type of person? And there is a blockage there, and it can be worked on. But no matter what you do, just know that the cycle can be broken. You can step outside of the cycle, whatever the cycle is. Doesn't matter if it's a physical cycle, a trauma cycle. There are other options. You might want to talk to really close friends that you trust, really close family members, if you do have access to a therapist, or do that work on your own. Say, I feel like I'm in a cycle. Spirit, what can you tell me? Is there anything I can do to get out of this cycle? Why am I in this cycle? And really define the cycle and figure out where the stepping out point is. And figure out if there's an answer that is just beyond the circle. Okay, and that's what I got just based on the card, just looking at it, because I've never pulled this card before. But let's take a look. It says, Herbs of Jupiter, cordyceps. Originally described 2,000 years ago in traditional Chinese medicine and Tibetan medicine as exotic caterpillar fungus or winter worm. Cordyceps is a parasitic fungus that grows out of the head of mummified caterpillars, insects, and many kinds of larvae. It has been gathered at high altitudes, primarily in Nepal and Tibet. That's very interesting. I did not know that about cordyceps. I knew it was a type of fungus. I thought it was a mushroom, to be honest, but that's really fascinating. I always love to learn more through tarot cards. I feel like it expands my horizons. It expands my knowledge. And there's so much more to tarot than just like, I'm going to read your future, right? There are over 1,000 recognized species of cordyceps. The first people to discover the many benefits of cordyceps initially observed animals eating the wild fungus and growing strong in the process. Farmers and herders either dried the fungus to make a tonic tea or cooked it with meat in traditional Tibetan dishes. In traditional Chinese medicine, it has been used as a heal-all for centuries to treat fatigue, weakness, sickness, low sex drive, kidney conditions, and heart disease. I think it's interesting that it said low sex drive. That might be something that you are struggling with right now, any of those particular things. I've said this in my Temperance reading. I'll link that down below. But I just feel like, why not try some herbal remedies? You know, as I said, always talk to your doctor. But if your doctor approves it, I don't see what the harm is in trying something that is from the ground, that is made by the earth. I think that there's a lot of power there. There's so much medicine just right here on the earth, grown from her, from the Mother Earth. And she wants to heal people. And I think that she gives so much out there. And all we have to do is just really search for the right thing for us. But I do believe that for a lot of ailments, there can be a lot of help from, specifically in this case, mushrooms and funguses. I feel they are so beneficial. I've felt a difference in my focus. I've felt a difference in my willpower. I've felt a difference in my stomach and in how my stomach hurts, and also my fatigue, as it said. So that is how mushrooms have helped me, but who knows how it will help you. And like I said, it could also not help you at all. You know, that might not be the answer for you. But I think it is important to always have that radar where you're looking out for things and looking for information about medicinal herbal remedies that can help whatever ailment you're having. Monks have long revered cordyceps as a longevity mushroom and utilized it to boost endurance and enhance lung capacity. Thousands of years later, studies now confirm that it indeed slows the effect of aging and stress. That's crazy. It slows the effect of aging. If I can find a study that actually says that, I will definitely leave that down below because I think that's very interesting. It says it helps to keep the body free from disease. Ruled by the wise, stimulating, and expansive powers of Jupiter, which is interesting because Jupiter was literally just in that in that alignment that I said. And Jupiter has to do with higher learning. They call Jupiter the guru. It's about blessings and like expansive knowledge. So I think that's really interesting that it's ruled by Jupiter, because that, I feel like, is what it does for people. It's very expansive. I think fungus in general and mushrooms in general are a very wise energy to put into you. They're ancient. They're connective. You know, their spores and their milia. What's it called? Their system underground. It connects all over the world. So I just feel like it has the energy of that. And the guidance says, it's time to soar to new heights. Energy is available to manifest your greatest dreams. Passion is in alignment with knowledge. This is exactly what I'm talking about these planets being in alignment. Now is the time. Now is the time to take the leap. Now is the time to follow your passions. The time is now. And I think that first card set was kind of just a pre-warning, because you are supposed to go out there and spread your love and really just rush out there and do what you want. Be with the people you want to be with. Have the career you want to have. Be in the social circles, yes, specifically social circles and career, but just in general, hobbies, passions, the life that you want to live. I feel like this card is about that, and I think that the reason why this first set was here is because it's like, there does need to be a little warning in there when you're running out to the world to spread all your love around, like the Knight of Cups. It's saying, hey, just make sure you're watching people's energy. Just make sure that you're noticing how much they give and take. It's an important factor to still have that in the back of your head, even when you're going to run out and love the whole world. You still have to have some cautious attitude towards people and life. You still have to have that, is this energy right? Is this going to be right? But otherwise, just go with it. It says passion is in alignment with knowledge. Energy is in alignment with matter. Like the great eagle, you are blessed with the connection to the divine. You have an innate ability to live in the realm of spirit, yet remain connected and balanced within the realms of earth. Yes. That is the beauty. That is the beauty of this time that we're in, is that we are in a time where I think humans are coming to realize their divine nature. And it is such a beautiful thing to watch. I think that a lot of people were living on like zombie mode, and a lot of people were just kind of shutting themselves off from intuition, from just divine messages in general, whether they didn't believe that or they didn't believe that they could get divine messages. Maybe they thought that like only priests or someone like that could get divine messages, but every person is divine. We are part of the whole, and you have that ability. You have that ability to take this knowledge that you get from meditation, from doing just rituals and tarot cards, whatever it is, however you're getting these messages, you have the ability to take that and integrate that with who you are, and then spread that knowledge and spread that divine wisdom. So you can be both rooted in the earth and in the divine at the same time. It's wonderful. And yes, it's really hard to balance. It's not like an all the time thing. I try to have my intuition every single day, every single moment. But there's times when you shut it off, and there's times when you lose sight, maybe close yourself off from the messages. And it's okay. You can get back at any time. It's always there waiting for you. That's the beautiful part about it. The eagle mirrors your ability to observe with expansive awareness. It's so funny that Jupiter, it's said, is expansive, blessings, higher learning, and guru. And that's literally what this is about. So this is very much in alignment with Jupiter. I would definitely take a moment and look at your Jupiter placements. I would just take a moment, honestly, and look at your Jupiter, Mars, Pluto, and Venus placements, and just try to understand what those mean to you, and you might find some serious insight there. And it says to achieve great sight beyond the mundane. So I think that this is really asking you to dream big. I mean, so far, it started out with the Knight of Cups. That's about rushing to spread the love, to follow your passions. Knights are all about that. They are about starting something amazing and spreading that love, spreading that, whatever it is, their passion. This card also says the same thing. This card is asking you to tap into those passions and dream big. The eagle and cordyceps represent the courage to channel the higher mind, ether, the realm of illumination, and higher consciousness. If you have been walking in the shadows, you are being asked to reconnect with the element of ether, the divine, your higher mind. Heal your broken wings with love and seek a higher ground to observe the greatness of what you're made of. Yeah, you're made of stardust. You are a divine being. Even if you were walking your whole life in the shadows, it can be right now in this moment that you choose to find that light coming out of your head, find it connecting to the divine, and really ask for divine guidance. I don't need to tell you divine guidance. I can tell you divine guidance, but you can tell yourself. That's the beautiful thing. You have that inside of you as well. It's not just tarot card readers. It's not just witches. It's not just priests. No. It's every single person in the world has that divine guidance and has that capability. And I think that that's everything I have for the Serpentine cordyceps section. And next I'm going to be moving on to this rose quartz palm stone. Okay, and next up we have the crossroads. It's actually reversed. I have pulled this card before, and at least what it meant upright is that you're at a crossroads, right? That's what it means. It means you have the option to go any way, and you can see that from this card too. Has all the arrows pointing in different directions, and I feel like it's really about like carving out the right direction for you. The path might not look clearly, but if you associate it, you know, with the heart stone, and also just this whole reading has been about following your passions. So you're going to follow your heart to the next step. But reversed, and it also says late winter, which is funny because we're in winter now, and I feel like a lot of people get this stagnant energy in the winter. And it makes sense too. You know, you're not getting as much sunlight in your eyes, you're not making as much serotonin, and that means that you are sometimes struggling to see a way out of situations, like we talked about the cycle. Struggling to see a way out. You know, it's reversed. So that's how I read it as, is that you don't know which direction to take. Now this can be in love, this can be with caring for yourself, this can be with, you know, your next step with a business, with your career. It doesn't matter. It can be a mixture of many of those. But I would say that that is the struggle right now, is that I think that at any time of your life really is like a crossroads, because at any moment you can choose to completely change your life. At any moment you could walk away from something you've been doing for years and create a new path. And the cordyceps also talked about that as well, as like creating those new neural pathways. So I think that right now, that cycling, that looping, feeling like there are no ways out. And I promise you there are. Like we talked about, sometimes that answer is just beyond the surface, just out of the cycle. Just one person telling you one piece of advice that you listen to and say, wow, you know what, you're right. I'm actually not stuck. Okay, this card says, pick a path. So I think that is actually something I want to talk about too, is that sometimes I feel like we pick too many things to think about. We're starting business and we want to be posting regularly on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. No. You know, we start something and we want to have 5 events a week. We want to keep our friendships with so many people at once, and we don't know how to balance that. I think that that's another way that this card can be read. The crossroads is a place of infinite possibility. Every moment really is a place of infinite possibility. That's the thing. It's a choice waiting to be made. Through the darkened days, you sat in the void, and then in the womb of the world, allowing first nothingness and then everythingness to swirl around you. Now it's time to pick a path and craft your way forward. Yeah, so really write down what lights you up. Write down your passions. Figure out what needs to be at the top of your priority list every single day. You look down one path and then at another. knowing that if you choose one, it means you must give up the other. What will you give up and what will you gain? It's interesting that it says that because in the Seven of Swords, it also is talking about what is coming and what is going, what is giving and what is receiving. So there are certain times in your life where you realize you have to let certain things go to gain other ones. And I'll say this a million times over, but when you release things from your life, it opens up that space to have beautiful, new, amazing things. There's so many times in my life that I can say that in that moment, I thought it was the worst thing that had ever happened to me, and it turned out to be the thing that changed my life for the better. You know, that could be the car accident I was in, that could be the previous relationships that I've been in. They taught me so much. They made me realize what I need to do to get out. With the car accident, I need to stop drinking, and because I was hit while I was drunk walking. So it's like, I know that now. I know that this is literally threatening my life, you know? And same with the previous relationship. It's like, I know now what I don't deserve. I know what to look for in a person. I know to see, they have the same signs. I know that this person isn't going to take care of me the way that I want to be cared for. And you can see that super early on when you've gone through those things. It's tempting to stay in the place of infinite potential and never choose a path, but that choice is no choice and ultimately leads to a sense of wasted time and even failure. So I think that this is really telling you that if you've been feeling stagnant, the stars have aligned, the planets have aligned, and it's time to make that choice, and you're going to make the right one. Follow your intuition, trust yourself, trust the people closest to you to give you good advice, and follow that way out. The universe has your back, always, always. You are guided, you are blessed, you are protected. There's nothing that can take that away from you. You are a divine part of the universe. What journey suits your soul right now? Remember that crossroads is a point that you pass through on your journey. It is a place to camp for the night, check your map, not a spot to make a permanent home. Want it all. You don't want to have to just choose one. But just know that when you make that choice and you let go of certain things and you step into a new reality, it opens up energy to make amazing things happen for you. And if something doesn't work out, it can be easily changed. People make it seem like it's so hard to get a new job. You know, like it's going to be the end of the world if you take a job that you don't really like. You can show up to work that day and say, this place isn't going to be for me, and go get a job the very next day. Trust me. And this is the same with people. You may feel like I have to settle for a person I don't belong with, but you don't. You don't. In fact, let's say you have two crap options. Maybe don't take either of them. You know, that's a choice too. Look around and take all the futures in, and take in the fullness of what is possible at this stage in your life. See which paths are clear and strong and which need to be scythed away into being through dense growth all around you. So yeah, sometimes things are going to be harder. A lot of the times the path of least resistance is the right one, but then other times that means that you're cycling. So I would say that this is one of those times in your life where you might have to take that path that isn't the one of least resistance. That is the cycle, that is the loop at this point. And there's going to have to be a new path. And sometimes it seems like, oh, this is going to have to be cut away at, this new path. And maybe it does. Maybe you're starting a completely new career. Maybe you're doing something you've never done before. Something had fallen away, so it's time to start something fresh. And yeah, that's a time when you're really going to have to carve out a brand new path. But other times, like the example of like setting up a GoFundMe, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as setting up a GoFundMe. It's not this crazy abstract, I have to start this career and I need to figure out all these steps. It's like, that is one step. And then it changed everything. So think about the ways that you can step away from the thinking that you've been in. Step away from the same cycle that you've been in, whether that's career, job, even for people that are like in a relationship. You can add new joy and new fun and new sexual activities, new just loving activities. Try to spice things up. I think that's what life is saying. No matter if you're single or not, it's just try to spice things up. Get out of the loop you've been in. I'm going to finish off this section from a quote in the book. I believe in living a poetic life, an artful life. Everything we do, from the way that we raise our children to the way that we welcome our friends, is a part of a large canvas we are creating. Maya Angelou. That is so beautiful. That's the thing. It's all art. It's all special. And in even taking no choice is making a choice. So make those amazing choices. This is a divine feminine reading, so make those creations. Carve out those passions and hobbies and really go forth with huge passion in your heart. And finally, we have the we have the rainbow obsidian hearts. Oh my gosh, you hurt me. Okay, and finally we have the Dancer and the Nine of Pipes for this rainbow obsidian double heart. This is probably going to be about romance, I would say. So the Dancer is the world. That's what it is in original tarot. And the world is all about, it's a great card. It's wonderful. It's about good things coming. It's about just positive change. It's just, oh my gosh. I feel like there's really no bad way to read this. I feel like it's about people being together in harmony and creation, just the like fruitful basket that is this world that we live in. Sometimes it's hard to see it that way, but there's so much creation that can happen here, and it's really a beautiful thing. And then the Nine of Pipes. I'm just going to go ahead and read out of the book for these last two cards because the book is so beautiful and I think that you all really enjoy what it says. The present is my point of power. All light, all love, all energy pass through me now, creating ongoing beauty, balance, and awakening on the path towards infinite bliss. From death, the pause of perfect peace, I am born to dance on top of the world. So I think that this really talks about what I had been saying in the Crossroads card, that every single moment is a moment of opportunity. And you died and had the perfect peace. That's what it's saying. It's saying when you die, you're like a soul and you're reborn, you're like replenished, and then you're reborn again to create. So it's the nothingness and then the everythingness, which had also been talked about in this reading already. I am cosmic consciousness, an awareness in the now of many forces at work on every plane of existence in and beyond this world. So yeah, I think that's what this first set of cards was really talking about, was being aware of the energies at play. The energies at play in your life, in a room, in your ideas, in your mind. And really getting good at that. That's something that you're going to be, like a journey that you're going on, is understanding the energy forces that are in play. And I think that that's something that everybody is going through. So it's a very collective, conscious feeling that we're all going through. In a sense, I am what has been referred to as the New Age, when all is in balance and everyone lives in peace and harmony, recognizing their oneness with each other. I am the end of an old cycle and the beginning of a new one. Oh my God. It's amazing. That's really amazing. That's why that this was a collective consciousness reading. That's why that this wasn't a pick a card. Because that is what we are moving towards as a society, as souls, as a collective, as part of the whole. We are moving towards harmony. We are moving towards peace. And sometimes it may not seem that way, but we are. And we are in the New Age. We are part of it. You are part of it. The divine messages that we're receiving now are for that purpose, for the wholeness, for the unity. You can tap into that. That is the train that we're riding right now. And you can tap into that and get divine messages on how to help yourself, on how to understand the whole, how to understand how to be part of the whole. You will be receiving divine messages on how to do that now. If you feel you are at a crossroads, just know that the path forward, even if it goes backwards, even if it goes in circles a couple times, the path forward will be one that is for peace and harmony. The reason that it really shook me up is because it says, I am the end of an old cycle and the beginning of a new one. So that is the old cycle that we were in. And we are stepping out into a new cycle that has peace and harmony. So our world, not just our country, not just you as a person, our whole earth was in a cycle. And I think everybody could see that there was a lot of negativity within the cycle. I mean, with war and just so much hate existing. And that's not to say that it's just going to all end. It's all just going to go away. But each person that is connected, each person that wants that, is going to help that new future. You matter for this new future. Your vision matters. What you want to bring to the table, your special sauce, your unique essence, it matters. It is part of this. I am a sign that all have learned to work with nature, using the laws of nature to benefit all. The streams and rivers flow, turning the water wheels. The wind gives its power to the windmills. The sun warms homes and gives light, each element being recognized for its worth and utilized in beneficial ways, according to the Creator's plan. So, this is talking about the future. This is talking about what's going to be happening, and part of the visions that we can have, that we can hold. Talking about solar power, wind power, water power. It's definitely an energy of being eco-friendly, of loving the earth, of giving back to the earth, of, like we said in the cordyceps card, using what the earth has given us. This card right now is placing an importance on nature and how nature and the Mother Earth can heal us. Just by even looking at her. Like I saw this in the cordyceps card, the two mountains. Just by even looking at the mountains. That happened to me when I was in Arizona. I was like, wow. It really takes you out of the cycle just by looking at something so beautiful and so divine. Really get out there and go find those nature spots that are going to heal your soul. Nature can heal you just by looking at her, just by seeing a rainbow, just by looking, taking the time to cloud gaze, you know, she can heal you. You are now a co-creator, taking part in the planetary transformation now taking place. Self and world are now one being, breathing one life. You are the dancer, holding the wands of male and female life force in perfect balance. The polarities within the self have been recognized and brought into a conscious, creative, working relationship. So it's touching on divine feminine, which is something we were talking about a lot because we have this beautiful crystal here on the table and the divine feminine oil. And it's saying you're coming to realize, not just within nature and keeping that balance, within yourself, how can you keep that balance of, you know, being firm but nurturing? Go out there and do what you want and also have a comforting space at home. These balances, and you're going to be holding it. This is what life's going to be like going forward. You're going to see things as the balance, as a more divine, as a spiritual balance rather than a daily task list. There is synthesis, crystallization, perfection, stability, all within the greater flow. You move consciously with the cosmos, understanding your place in time. And you're going to move consciously with the cosmos by following your intuition. You're going to ask for divine messages, whether that's when you go to bed at night, whether that is literally when you're about to have to make a decision in that exact moment, asking. That's me all the time, asking, is this what I should be doing? Is it? And I get answers. You can get answers. If you are feeling lost, ask the divine. The divine can work through people in your external world as well, so always be listening. I dance freely with power, for I have faced the death of all that flows through me. In other words, I have transcended possession and desire for results. My actions are based on the fullness of the moment, rather than on sacrifice for the future. Yeah, I was living in the sacrifice for the future mode. When I talked about in the beginning, before the reading even started, that I said I had my daily list and I said I have to do this on these days and these are things I love and they need to get done, rather than saying, what should I do today? What is this day most in alignment with? Because based on the weather, based on your feelings, based on who's in town that day, there's so many moving parts to the world and your life. And some days will be for certain things and some days will be for others. And you shouldn't be so rigid in thinking, on Wednesdays I do this. And that's that. It's, what should I be doing today? In that moment. What should I be doing in this moment? What will be for the betterment of myself, the earth, and all of the souls that exist? What will help? And that is when you get the answer. Not, I've set this up and this is how it's going to have to be. No, we're moving out of that thinking as a collective. As a collective, we're moving out of that thinking. And it says, I've transcended possession and desire for results. That's something that I went through with the house fire. I think that's also collective. I see what's so popular on YouTube right now, on TikTok, everywhere. Decluttering, organization content. People don't want as much things. Minimalism. That is what the collective is moving towards. And it's, of course, important not to get too caught up in one thing or another, but we're taking less meaning towards, like, this could be my favorite crystal in the whole world. And then it could break tomorrow, and then that's okay. I'll find a new favorite crystal. There will be a special moment when one of my best friends gives me a new crystal, and that will be my new favorite crystal. And then even if that broke, that would be okay. And I enjoyed it for that moment. There's a taking away of the importance of items, of the importance of every single thing. I think that a way to take away the importance of like every single person you love being on this plane, you know, when it comes to death, because it did mention death, is like a way that I work through that is I have an inner knowing that we are all one, that all of our souls do exist on a plane together, because I believe in many, many different planes of existence, and I believe that all of our souls are conjoined in one of these planes. You don't have to believe what I believe. I'm not forcing it on you. It's something that I choose to believe, and by believing it, it has helped me get through grief, because I think it's going to be okay. I mean, it's just like how people feel about heaven. It's like, I'm going to see them again. We just have this small blip of a life, and then I will be with them for eternity. In fact, I'm already with them for eternity, because I'm one with everything. If you called out for a sign, the crow would fly over, the rose would, you know, pop up, like the heart would show itself, like the sign would come. The sign would come if you called out for a sign, because they're there with you. It also mentioned the desire for results. So instead of, like I said, instead of how I was, you know, planning out my whole week in desire for me to grow my YouTube, grow my business, it's no longer for that. That's what we're moving out of. And that, I think that's something I really needed to hear actually myself, is it's not for me going viral or me getting lots of sales or me, you know, having 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. There's no like ultimate goal. It shouldn't be like that. It's, am I helping someone? Am I helping the collective? Is this going to light somebody's soul up? Is it lighting my soul up? That's what the real question is behind what we're doing now. It's no longer, am I going to reach this goal that I've set for myself? Like, am I going to lose this amount of weight? Or am I going to be healthy? I want to feel healthy. Is eating this going to make me feel healthy? Not, is eating this going to make me lose weight, make me reach this goal? Is eating this going to light me up? Is going to fill me up? That's it. It's not about some goal that we have anymore. I understand that now is all futures. I therefore live in death. It is death as a state of constant peace and surrender to what is. Thus, death is the ultimate balance during life. I have untied polarities of existence. As you approach the understanding of this within yourself, the world is yours. Earth, I am through you. I understand that now is all futures. Yes, the present moment is everything. And therefore, I live in death. So, when it says I live in death, it means, as it says in the next line, ooh, is that a gunshot right when I talked about death? What the heck? It is death as a state of constant peace. So it's saying like the part of yourself is dying that, no, hold on. I live in death. It is death as a state of constant peace. Surrender to what is. It's like you died. It's like you died already in life. Because I heard something recently. It was like imagine if you were going to die every day. Or like just remember the fact that like every single person around you is going to die someday. Because when you get really honest about this truth that exists, you can truly live. Because what is really holding you back? What if you died tomorrow, you know? Would there be so much fear around public speaking if you knew you were going to die tomorrow? Right? And it's like, it's death to all of those, the needing and the wanting and the fear and the all of these things that plague us. That is living in a state of peace. And it's almost like death to the physical body even. It's like eternally alive, knowing that you are a soul. Death is the ultimate balance during life. I have united polarities of existence. As you approach the understanding of this with yourself, the world is yours. In earth, I am through you. I'm not really sure what that last part means. In fact, this whole section has been a little bit confusing to me, so if anybody else wants to put their 2 cents in on this one, I'd love to hear what you think that means. What I'm getting out of it is that to die, to know that you are dying, to know that everything will die, and then still living. That is the polarity. But I feel like there's more to it than that. It's like the death of a side of yourself. I think that in a collective consciousness sense, there's like part of us dying, like a piece of us, just in a knowingness. And then therefore we can live fully, knowing that truth of death. Acceptance. It's an acceptance, I think, an acceptance of fear, an acceptance of passions, of everything in life, of all of the many facets that make up life, instead of fighting it, instead of death, we're just living. I think it's just like a really hard concept to explain, honestly. I'm struggling to explain it. Talking about just dying while you're alive, Dying while you're still alive, because when you die while you're still alive, you have a sense of peace. I think it's like the way that people are when they've, literally faced death, when they've been to the other side. And they have a sense of peace. A lot of people don't know that about me, but that's happened to me before. And you really come out on the other side after having a near-death experience, and you say, I have to do something. I have to change my life. It's like how people that, have cancer and then they beat it and they go, oh my God, I have to climb Mount Everest. Like, now that I know and I have this inside of me, now that I know that I could have died and I still have this energy inside of me, I'm going to use it with all of my might and all of my force. And I'm going to change my life for the better. If that means, going after the person, the job, the career, getting rid of old habits and things like that. It's about living your best life. When you know that death could be around every corner, that anybody around you could pass away at any moment, you hold them tighter. You hold your life more dearly. And it's a difficult thing to say, but it's just true. It's just true. And I think it's important to accept it, to face death head on, and then use that as a tool to say, I am going to make this the best life. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this the best life I've ever lived. And do that. And make those choices that make that happen. It says, moment to moment, I need only ask, am I in harmony with the good of all portions of myself? And to breathe in peace and exhale love. Ask yourself this question 10 different times a day. So I would definitely do that. I would try to have moments of awareness throughout your day saying, have I been acting in accordance with how I want to act, with what I believe is morally good, in a way that I think is benefiting myself and others? So ask yourself that throughout the day, maybe even do a journal prompt at the end of the day, asking yourself if you felt that you were in harmony that day, if you felt that you listened to divine guidance that day. Try to take notes about that, because this is going to be really important going forward. It's going to be basically everything. Your daily life is just the divine flowing through you. Now, that is what the collective is moving towards. Okay, and the last card in this tarot reading is the Nine of Pipes. Okay, and the prayer for the Nine of Pipes says, I humbly take the role that I see myself in now. I gladly take the step before me. I accept this new power and position. Though people may come to me recognizing my talents, I shall overcome the temptation to live on their compliments and stop growing. Oh, that's really interesting. So it's asking you to get this energy from the divine and from within yourself, rather than like always trying to get energy from others, saying like, is this right? Is this enough? Is this, it's like really try to focus on getting that from a divine connection. Reach out at night, during the day, at any time. When you need help, say, I need divine guidance. Say it in your head. Say it out loud. It doesn't matter how you do it. You know, people pray. Some people meditate. It doesn't matter what you call it or how it is done, what position you're sitting in. It does not matter. Just do it. I choose instead to continue to carry out the work you place before me. Great Spirit, always accepting my highest role in relation to my people. For the place you have given me among them, I am thankful. So yeah, it's really saying that like at this time, all of the people here, there is an important role that they play. You know, I've already touched on that, and there's power available and being given to you divinely to do what needs to be done to help people and to help yourself and to help the earth. So, you know, if you felt like there would have to be a miracle to save the planet, to save you, to save whatever you think needs to be saved, just know that miracles exist and it works through the divine. And you are given this power. You are given this power, and use it. Use it wisely, and ask for divine guidance on how to use it as well. I promise that all the answers are there. You are part of it. You are part of the whole. You stand before your inner teacher, the power within you. You have achieved success in taking charge of your physical being, whether by controlling your diet, disciplined exercise, or fine-tuning your voice to sing, your hands to draw, your feet to dance, your fingers to play an instrument, or your heart to open to healing. You have some degree of mastery over the physical realm because you have consistently focused your energy in a certain direction. You may be a mother of children or a mother of an invention. Whatever you have done, you are on the threshold of a deeper relationship with the great power. At this time, every day, every moment should be flexible and accept the new messages that are coming. And that reminds me, there's something I need to say, is that your intuition can say one thing and then all of a sudden decide, you know what, actually, no. And you can listen to that. Please listen to that, in fact. There's a reason why it changed. You know, this intuition is like a mixture of divine guidance and your body that picks up on subconscious small details in your outer world. So make sure if there's some sort of flip switch in your intuition to listen to the changed directions. You might think, no, I already I already was told to come here. I shouldn't leave, even though your intuition's like screaming, leave, 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 leave. Listen, just because you were told to come to somewhere for like a couple seconds and you're like, why would I ever, who knows? Maybe you would have gone in a car wreck if you would have gone the other way. Like, you don't know why the universe works the way it does, but just listen. Just listen to all new information coming in. And it's said that you have, mastered maybe a certain aspect of life, mastered maybe even your routine or whatever it had been, but it is time now to master divine guidance. That is what this time is for now. Okay, and it says, it is as if you've been playing a game and suddenly the ball is in your hands. Excitement pours through you. Don't panic. Just go for your larger goal. It's time to act. And I have a story about that. It's like when I would go to festivals and there'd be certain times where when I'm watching the music, I would think, oh my God, I feel like I'm helping control this energy. Like, I feel like my particular energy is helping change the way that this whole entire set is. Not to say that I'm the only person, but I just felt like I was adding to it. And it felt horrifying. Like, I was like, I'm not doing this right. I am so scared. I'm not adding my energy right. I'm not doing the right things for the right people. Like, it would just be this panic that would rush over me when it's like I really felt the divine essence flowing through me. I felt the connection in those moments. It's so easy for me to feel that at festivals because I feel like they are set up to be intentional spiritual places a lot of times, and there's a lot of like-minded people at those type of events. And a lot of times the person making the music, they'll be an intentional person that wants to like share energy and wants to bounce energy and wants to have you help change the course of their show. If you guys are really hyped, maybe they might play more hype songs. If you guys are kind of more chill, he might go more chill. The artist might go a more chill route. So you are really affecting the energy, no matter if you see that or not. And I think it just said a warning, like it just gave a bit of advice for when moments like these happen. And in reality, that's like every moment we're adding to the energy of the room and adding to the energy of the space. And it's saying, don't panic, it's easier said than done. I know, because I've been in those situations, absolutely panicking, but you can take that power now and, like it said, work on those greater goals. So if you have goals about, it spoke on wind power, if you want to protest, if you want to write petitions, if you want, there's so many different aspects. And just talk to somebody, just be a good friend, just somebody to like lean on. There's so many ways you can help the world just by existing. And you can take that power that you've been granted, this energy that you can put out into the world and make the world a better place. And if you do get this sense of like extreme fear and extreme panic when you realize this, that you realize that you are adding to the energy of everything, a tip that I have is work on yourself. Better yourself. Start there. It's really important to start there. If you struggle with addiction like I did, I think that one of the most important steps for me to add good energy to the collective was for me to get sober. And I'm not saying that's for everybody, and I'm not saying that people that are not sober are not adding good energy to the collective. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I realized something about myself, that I felt I wasn't being the best version of myself I could be. I wasn't being good to others. I would literally be rude and just not be conscious, be talking over people, things like that when I was not sober. And I think working on yourself, basically all I'm trying to say is working on yourself is a really good place to start if you feel a fear, a sense of fear, like you aren't adding the right thing. I just wanted to throw that out there for anybody that's ever felt that way before. It's weird. This isn't in this card, but this just like popped out at me. It's actually from the Eight of Pipes, but it really popped out to me on the other page. It says, Creator, show me the way to make my life art. That's just funny because that Maya Angelou quote, I feel like, was about making your life art. So that might be something you want to journal on, something you want to connect to the divine about, is just how to make your unique essence, the way you move, the way you talk, what you create, what you cook, what you do, art. You make it all part of the bigger picture and make it beautiful and make it colorful and make it filled with bright energy, you know, instead of, I think sometimes, you know, we have this late winter card, we get so stuck in the winter. We get so, even as a collective, I think, because I'm down in Florida now, I don't even have winter, and I still get those stuck feelings. So I think that's just a collective thing that we all just kind of go in a little bit at this time of year. And I think that the divine wants you to reach out and ask how you can make art with your life, how you can create, because this is divine feminine, that's all about creation. It's time to create something new. Pitfalls here involve wanting to eliminate the unusual energy or wasting it on excesses such as overeating, drinking too much, drug indulgence, or compulsive, non-meaningful sexual activity in lieu of taking the action your soul really wants to take. That's literally what I was saying. That's what I'm saying about working on yourself. If you get that fear when the ball's in your court, it's because you're doing something instead of what the divine actually wants you to do. Whether that's like creating some art piece, whether that's just talking to others in a meaningful way, just living. But sometimes when you're like drunk all the time, or you're, you know, like it mentioned a couple different things, you're just closed off. You're not able to do those things that you were supposed to do. Not even supposed to, but that your soul really desires, honestly. And the universe wants you to get what your soul really desires. So it's going to start making your life really difficult if you don't make those choices on your own. You know, it's just one hardship after another until you finally just give it all in and say, you know what, something's got to give, right? The extra energy must be used courageously to move you forward into the wholeness, into a place in your highest fantasy. You can live your dream if you take the next step bravely now. Bring your high ideals home to bless your foundation. Your power is great and must be put to good purpose. You have great power, and now is the time to use it. Truly, the stars have aligned for your greatest fantasies to come true. And it's really all on you and taking that time to connect to the divine. And I absolutely love you. And this cat is biting me. And I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I am going to leave all of that stuff I talked about linked down below. Or I'm trying to hit 100. I would really appreciate if you were part of the crew that helps me get to 100 subscribers. You know I'll remember you guys forever. I absolutely love you. Bye, everybody.